what is the best way to inspire someone to become interested in learning the deen, who while still Muslims have become somewhat rebellious or confused about tradition? That one of the things that I've found in that regard is that I regularly come into contact with people of this type, and I think that it's important to speak to people without readily placing a judgment on them. Meaning that you have to speak to them in a way that they feel comfortable talking to you. That if you just start attacking them and just close them off, they're just going to become more rebellious and more confused. And that you have to let people get out what it is that they have inside. And that you have to attempt to understand from their perspective how they came to that. And there might have been some event that happened in their life, some experience. There might be some type of knot that has nothing to do with anything intellectual. It's actually spiritual that's there. Were that to be removed, the intellectual part is all worked out. So what I found is that the best way is that, it requires knowledge on your end is to, people have questions. And they should be free to ask. Not only should they're free to ask their questions, that we're required, Islamic, if you don't understand something, to ask that question. And to me, I've always found the tradition to have the most convincing answers. So I'm not, there's things that I don't know how to answer for sure. And if we don't know something, I don't know. But I don't feel like I don't feel, let's see, what would the word be? I don't feel, I feel confident enough about the tradition that just let people bring out what they have inside. Let's talk about it. And that I'll do my best, if I think you're wrong, to convince you otherwise. But I don't want them to feel, if people feel like they can't have an open conversation, that's counterproductive. They should be able to get it all out. And then that we should be able to, in a very convincing, rational fashion, convince them otherwise with what we believe to be from the tradition. And I found that has been, because to be honest with you, that sometimes people put out questions, and they're good questions. There really are good questions. There's just not people to answer them correctly, or they haven't gotten the correct answers. And that's no one's perfect. Not everyone can answer all the questions, but at the same time, you can't fault them for not getting convincing answers. And so that I think we're just very open like that, and then that is how I've personally found the best way. But that requires, though, a knowledge to bring them back. And that I know teachers of mine that are very open about this. And one in particular is Habib Ali Jufri, who last Ramadan that did a series of lectures on public television of this sort. Is that he invited people from all different backgrounds that had all different ways of thinking, and they just discussed very openly about their perspective and his perspective and so forth. And that this is the way that my teachers were. Is I think we should be very open about these things, and then you'll find that if that's the case, a lot of times these people are used to people, unfortunately, that there's a bit of they're demagogues in a sense that they're kind of shut down. Don't think like that. No, just don't even think like that. I just always didn't. Right? And that's not going to help someone get rid. That's going to make them more rebellious in tradition. No, let it out. Okay, we'll talk about it. Let's calm down.